Okay. Well, Jessica and I are both extremely honored to be able to introduce Jen Frim as the next inductee to the Hall of Fame. And when you think about Jen's contribution to the club, you can see that she has worn many hats and continues to wear many hats at the club. So I did a little bit of digging into some of her timeline, and as other people have said, in 2009, she joined the club, and she will tell the story that growing up in the Alberta province of Canada, she never curled. Her parents curled, but she didn't curl. It was something that her parents did. So it wasn't until she came down to Columbus and discovered that we had a curling club, then they did their date night, and that she started at the club in 2009. So as many new members do, it wasn't long before she was on the board of the board. And so in 2011, she joined the board and served a 3-year tenure. And during that time, she was on the player development committee. She started our junior program at the urging of then club president Gordon Webster. And she would say he guilted her into it. We're very grateful that she did. So that program grew enough that she passed it off to David O'Neill. And she continued with the young people doing the little types, the little ones. But that junior program that she started created some very quality curling members, young members, one of them being my son, who I'm very proud of, who went on to compete in national competitions. I don't know that they would have had that opportunity had our junior program not been started by Jen Frim. So she also, during her tenure as a board member, she became chair of the Player and Instructor Development Committee. That was from the 2012 season all the way to ending in the end of the 2017. She continued on doing many roles in that, tried to pass it off to somebody, and then took it over for a little while, and then passed it off again to somebody else. But she's still very, very involved. And in 2013-2014 season, she was our very first recipient of the Volunteer of the Year award. So as you can see, from all she's done, she greatly deserved that award. In 2017, she was no longer on the board, but her involvement did not diminish. She became our webmaster, she joined the league committee, and she joined the ice committee. And I will mention that when she and Aaron split, and Aaron went up and joined Lisa, Brian Green had the opportunity and the pleasure of curling with Jen, for they've been together for nine years, I believe. Ryan just told me so. They've had a great relationship as well. They're very calm people, competitive, maybe not quite as much as their other halves. They're very competitive, very calm about it. And I personally know how calm Jen Frim can be, and I will talk about that in just a minute. But we also can't forget that during the time that Aaron was president, she served as our first lady. It was the support that he needed for that entire presidency, because we know how big of a job that is. So present day, she continues to be involved. She's on the technical committee, the league committee, the ice crew. She keeps up with our youth curling program. She does bonspiel shifts and does the ice for bonspils, not when she's playing. Hopefully not when she's playing, because you shouldn't have to do the ice if you're playing in a bonspiel. And she does dabble in instructing still. She keeps current with that. So, and to me personally, she's been a great curling friend. Excuse me. Just, I can't stress the benefit of my son going through the junior program and being able to see him grow and love a sport that I love and do really well at it. And he is much better than I am. Hands down. So, but I got the pleasure to be mentored by Jen for 2 years. I was her vice to her skip on Tuesday League, which we all know is the best league. Am I right? She was a very kind, gracious skip to a new vice who, I would come back and go, yeah, I should probably call Sweet. And go, yeah. Good. But so after 2 years of playing with her, I decided, okay, I need to let somebody else be her vice. Then I will try to skip. And I still try to skip. But when I play against her, it's great fun. She's always very encouraging, even when you're playing against her on Tuesdays. Even when she's not winning, she might not be as forthcoming with help. But when she's winning, and I will say, Jen, I don't know what to do. And she'll say, well, you might think about this. So she's still teaching and encouraging. She's always positive. Anybody who knows Jen knows she's always welcoming to anybody who comes to our club. So that is my part. And Jessica is going to talk a little bit more about that spirit of curling that Jen provides to.
Thank you, Leanne, for the informative and heartfelt speech. Hopefully next year we'll be inducting you. And also, when Leanne mentioned that she was Jen's vice, I was on one of those first teams. That was my very first team. Jen was a skip, Leanne was my vice, and I don't know where I went after that. Now let's give it up for the other honorees. Morag, Fred, as I like to call him, the luckiest man on the planet, for being married to Jen. Now, as I started working on this project, I became more and more aware of how much Jen put her stamp on our club. Not only has Jen grown our club through her tireless efforts, she's helped shape its future. A future we're realizing this year. This year. Jen was instrumental in revamping our player development aspect of our club. This came in the whole expanded instructional workforce. Big thank you to all of our instructors out there, by the way. We couldn't have a club without you. And then also with this came thousands of people positively exposed to the sport we all love. Thank you. In a way, we were all Jen's curling children and grandchildren. There's a quote, to find the right teacher, first you must find someone you're willing to listen to. I think we have all found that person in Jen. I know I have. I can't count how many times I have sought her guidance over the years. Think what a mess I'd be without her help. I think Jen not only belongs in our club Hall of Fame, she belongs in the city of Columbus Hall of Fame. Jen's skill set is not just limited to on the ice. Ironically enough, curling is only her second best uniquely Canadian game that she's an expert at. A game where Graham Altori was the family champ. You all know Graham Altori, sheet C, red 4. A few years ago at Lisa and Mary Kay's party, Jen taught us bum darts. Now Jen had on an ankle-length dress. She hitched it up to her knees and tied it off and bummed that Canadian quarter. Then she walked across the patio, up 3 stairs, across the deck, and dropped it in a bucket, clinkety clink clink. Like, wow. Wow. Now, from a modest farm in Peace River County, Alberta, Canada, a person I am fortunate to call my dear friend, your friend, my mentor, and a curling badass, please welcome Jen Frim.
Thank you, Leanne and Jessica. Wowzer. To end on bum darts. Wow. Thanks. Nice. I get 2 trophies, guys.
Thank you.
Well, like they said, these two really played a significant role in my curling experience, as they spent significant time trying to help me remember who has hammer. And thankfully, I have learned from them so I can do the same for my Thursday script, Ryan. Yay, we will get it someday. We remember who has hammer. And I'm so pleased that they've both become really great competitors leading their own teams. They have wiped me up on the ice a couple of times, I think. Thank you also to the Hall of Fame committee for bringing me into this round's cohort of inductees. The four of us have been members of the CCC for about the same amount of time, and I've enjoyed working with all of them in various capacities. Learned from, they've got strengths in areas that I just don't, and it's been really great working on them. We've heard a lot about the spirit of curling today, and I think that's one of the best things about the sport of curling. That concept, and you can read it on a bunch of websites. You can read it in our own club, in its own little frames. But it says a lot of things, but among those, it says this: while the main objective of the game of curling is to determine the relative skill of the players, the spirit of curling demands good sportsmanship, kindly feeling, and honorable conduct. I grew up in a curling family, but I did not realize how the qualities that I saw around my community matched this universally accepted code in the curling world until I started writing this speech. The curling clubs, they were just the way they were. They sponsored kids to go to conferences. They served at community festivals. They were the gathering place for the region. That's just who these people were. That's just what they did. But now I know this is something special. And maybe that's why that this sport and this club is so comfortable for me. Good sportsmanship, integrity, and community are embedded values. And the people that come here and that do this, that resonates with them. These are my people. I appreciate how playing with and serving with all kinds of different people has made my experience with the CCC such a positive part of my life. And I'm so happy that others feel the same way about me being here. Being inducted into the CCC Hall of Fame is an honor I did not expect, and I plan on continuing to experience and striving to embody the spirit of curling for years to come. Thank you, everybody.